Carrie Brown. We're doing Carrie Brown. She's the public art curator at the San Antonio River Authority. She's charged with building a dynamic program for temporary and permanent public art projects. She is a very busy woman. We have the San Pedro Arts Project going on right now, and it's going to be massive and wonderful. The San Pedro Creek Cultural Park is what her big project she's working on. She's worked in the public art field for over 14 years and holds a Bachelor in Fine Arts degree in photography from Arizona State University. She's a Chicago native. She also enjoys baseball and adventures with her dog Lemmy. So let's give it up for Carrie Brown. And before we even start, I'm going to ask you, did you name your dog after the guy in Motorhead?
I wish I was that cool.
Okay, that's enough of that.
Okay, thanks y'all. Thanks for having me here tonight. Here we go. As a little girl, I wanted to be Mary Lou Retton. In 1984, Mary Lou scored 2 perfect tens and was the first American gymnast to win Olympic gold. She was a pint-sized powerhouse. Unfortunately, a growth spurt to a whopping 5'3" ended my career, but I'll never forget what gymnastics told me, to never fear a challenge. As a young adult, I fell in love with art. I still have a vague memory of the first time I saw this sculpture. I was mesmerized by its scale and how the public interacted with it. To this day, I still get excited when I see it. I carry that experience with me and strive to recreate it in my work. At Arizona State, I studied photography. Usually a person of few words, I found my voice and creative outlet behind the camera. The work of Mark Klett inspired me to explore my new landscape, the stunning and brutal Sonoran Desert. And Mark's words encouraged me to break past my comfort zone and trust my instincts. My studies brought me to the work of Edward Weston. Weston was a masterful printer. His images looked as though they would flow right off the paper if you picked it up by the corner. He composed amazing photographs, but he also paid close attention to the medium itself. This provided the viewer with 2 distinct experiences, which really resonated with me. Public transit brought me back to public art, back to that experience of Picasso. In this work, I learned how to read construction drawings and quickly refill slide carousels that spilled on the floor. The experience showed me how to work in restrictive environments, how to engage artists in urban planning, and how and why to include the community in the whole process. As I advanced my career, moving from Phoenix to Los Angeles, I found myself drawn to projects that transform a space and require participation. Like David Byrne's Playing the Building, a monumental instrument full of wacky sounds of pipes, trusses, and windows. Here the viewer is invited to play and forego their stage fright. I was also drawn to projects that provided a function but did so with a dash of humor. I mean, why not play hopscotch as you cross the street? This crosswalk in Baltimore is so simple yet provides such a genuine smile-inducing experience that you might just cross the street twice or challenge a stranger to a duel. I moved to Austin in 2011, the driest year ever in Texas. Honoring the millions of trees lost that year, artist Bailey Liu salvaged a dying tree and suspended it over Lady Bird Lake. This and thousands of prayer flags on the riverbank asked us to reconsider our relationship with water. Ironically, the river flooded during the installation, but the tree stood still defiantly. 3 months ago, I chased my career one more time and became the newest member of the San Pedro Creek Culture Park team. This project will transform a neglected urban creek into a world-class linear park. As public art curator, I get to celebrate the history of the creek and the culture of San Antonio through contemporary art. As the city expanded in the 20th century, the creek was converted into a concrete-lined drainage ditch to mitigate increased flooding. Now we are bringing back the creek's natural habitat, improving its flood control functions, and catalyzing economic development along its banks. Most importantly, we are reconnecting the community to its historic beginnings. This is San Pedro Creek today. When I first saw it, I thought, oh dear. But then as I stood there, I began to imagine the possibilities. I remembered the projects I had worked on, the projects I studied and visited, and I thought, this is an amazing opportunity, and this is where I need to be. As I began to study the drawings and renderings, I could see the challenges before me. I thought about the balance beam my grandfather made for me so I could practice for hours on end. I started to peel back the layers of this rich and complex project, dig into the recesses of my brain, and trust that the River Authority knew what they were doing when they hired me. I imagined places for temporary installations, places where an artist could engage with architecture and momentarily change it, like the Red Ball Project. I thought about creating opportunities for young artists to expand their practice and experiment in this unique space without the pressure of permanency. To my excitement, the design of San Pedro Creek Culture Park offers many opportunities for light, sound, and projection-based artwork. I remembered Ballroom Luminoso right here in San Antonio and how it transforms a highway underpass into a destination. I also envisioned artists giving a voice to the creek with subtle sounds or spoken word. The possibilities really are endless. The number of cultural amenities along the creek, like the Alameda Theater and the Pace Foundation, is incredible. I hope to build partnerships with these creative institutions so that we can join forces to enliven the creek long past construction. I want the creek to be a place that locals visit over and over again. There are currently 8 artists on board who are skillfully capturing the history and culture of the creek. I am also interested in the creek's function as a water resource and natural habitat. Festivals like Glow explore this idea by commissioning artists to create site-specific artwork that examines the intersections of human life and wildlife on Santa Monica Beach. I also see San Pedro Creek Culture Park as a venue, a place for dance, music, and theater. Herbert Byer's Mill Creek Earthwork is a great example of this. A modernist masterpiece, it is often used as a performance venue for local nonprofits like this dance company. It's also a stormwater detention dam serving a similar purpose to our creek. Okay, now for the baseball analogy. In 2016, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series for the first time in 108 years. Woo! And I was out of control. But as Cubs fans celebrated, our thoughts shifted to those of us who didn't live long enough to see this day. And as the world saw grandiose celebrations like this, lifelong fans came to the ballpark to pay homage to their loved ones. A friend of mine inscribed the nickname of my grandfather, the Great RB, on behalf of my family. And suddenly this extremely extroverted experience became quiet and intimate. I was so moved by this creative expression that came from a baseball game. Now, I can geek out about public art in any city, but I choose to do it here in San Antonio. I'm passionate about my work and determined to deliver a world-class linear park to the citizens of this city. So I ask you to help me tell your stories, as I have told my story here tonight, and I will help you share this special place with the world. Thank you.
Carrie, this is very exciting. What an ambitious project. I want to just I'm no stranger to public art, and I did a project for the city of Austin when Carrie was up there, and they asked me to design something for Lady Bird Lake, and I worked about a year on it, and it was going along fine, and we presented it to the people that were in charge of the money, and I have never been more hated in my life. This woman hated me, she hated my artwork, and the woman in charge actually looked at me and said, "Mr. Sweeney, we just don't think your humor is appropriate for the city of Austin." And which is probably true. I might have been making a little bit of fun of it, but they're the ones that hired me. They knew what my friggin' artwork looked like. So but anyway, bitter? I'm not bitter. But anyway, Carrie, this is just wonderful. I can't wait to see the results of these. There's a lot of balls to juggle in the air, aren't there? How do you manage your time? Are you really good at managing time?
I try to be. I have to say I have a really good team at the River Authority, as well as our county partners, so they help me a lot. But it's been a whirlwind getting myself up to speed. I work a little extra hours every now and again just to stay on top of things, but it's really exciting, so I really can't complain.
So what kind of timetable are we looking at for some of these projects?
So So the first section of the creek will open on May 5th of next year, our tricentennial. And there will be other sections under construction. The project is divided into 4 phases. We're currently working on phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 3 and phase 4 are further down the road. We're looking at probably about another 4 or 5 years before it's all done.
Wow. Well, that's job security, isn't it? Well, I've seen the proposals by the local artists here. I can guarantee you've picked the blue chip artists of San Antonio. So congratulations. Thank you very much. Let's give it up for Carrie Brown.